Yeah, that'll do. Prepare yourselves, as at long last, I finally will be bringing to you a TV log of the one that started it all, the Flintstones.
This is a Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews TV log.
So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Noel, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around, I'm back again with another TV log. Today, I'm going to be talking about a show I had seen a little bit of, but didn't get to watch it a whole lot because I guess I just wasn't into it then, but I was into some of its spin-offs though. And I'm talking about a real big show and what have you. The first ever animated series on primetime. Yes, sirree. Before the Jetsons, before the Simpsons, even before the Griffins, which of course is Family Guy, there was this family, and they are known as the modern Stone Age family. So here it is. I bring to you the original series itself of the Flintstones. The Flintstones was an animated comedy series produced by Hanna-Barbera along with Screen Gems, originally premiering on ABC in the fall of 1960. The show would be a big success, running for 6 big seasons. Anyway, the series takes place in a romanticized Stone Age setting and follows the activities of the titular family, the Flintstones, along with their next door neighbors, the Rebels. As I mentioned, it was the first animated series to hold a prime time slot on television. It premiered on September 30th, 1960. It follows the lives of Fred and Wilma Flintstone and pet dinosaur Dino, eventually seeing the addition of their baby Pebbles later on, plus their neighbors Barney and Betty Rubble, and best friends. Although sometimes Fred and Barney have on again, off again issues with their friendship and what have you. The Rebels adopt a super strong baby named Bamm-Bamm and acquire a pet hopperoo called Hoppy. William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, who were the producers of the show, who had recently earned 7 Academy Awards for their Tom and Jerry shorts with MGM, and their staff faced a challenge in developing a 30-minute program with one storyline that fit the parameters of family-based domestic situation comedy of the era. After considering several things and selecting the Stone Age, one of several inspirations was the Honeymooners, in itself traceable to the Bickersons and Laurel and Hardy, whom of course they would also do an animated series of, well, only it was a series of shorts, which Hannah freely praised as one of the finest comedies on television. The show's animation required a balance of visual as well as verbal storytelling that the studio created and others imitated. The continuing popularity of the show rests heavily on its juxtaposition, how you pronounce it, of modern everyday concerns in the Stone setting. The Flintstones was the most financially successful and longest running network animated television series for 3 decades until The Simpsons surpassed it. And aside from The Simpsons, TV Guide ranked this as the second greatest cartoon of all time. Anyway, now the show is set in a comical version of the Stone Age with added features and technologies that resemble mid 20th century suburban America. The plots deliberately resemble the sitcoms era, with the caveman Flintstone and Rubble families getting into minor conflicts characteristic of modern life. The show is set in the Stone Age town of Bedrock, population 2,500. Dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures are portrayed as coexisting with cavemen, saber-toothed cats, and woolly mammoths. Now, according to this, animation historian Christopher P. Lehman considers that the series draws its humor in part from creative uses of anachronism. Excuse me, I mispronounced that. My apologies. The main one is the placing of a modern 20th century society in prehistory. This society takes inspiration from the suburban sprawl developed in the first 2 decades of the post war period. This society has modern home appliances which work by employing animals. They have automobiles, but they hardly resemble the cars of the 20th century. These cars are large wooden and rock structures powered by people who run inside well, inside them, that is. This depiction varies. On some occasions, the cars appear to have engines with appropriate sound effects requiring ignition keys, and some representation of gasoline. Fred might pull into a gas station and say, "Fill her up with Ethel," which is pumped through the trunk of a woolly mammoth marked Ethel. Where the car runs by foot or by gas varies according to the needs of the story. Finally, the stone houses of this society are cookie cutter homes positioned into neighborhoods typically of mid 20th century American suburbs. Yeah, apparently, this show was just so absolutely very, very funny after watching all of it. Let me see here. Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to just get just a wee bit of info here. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. Sorry, I was trying to get a little information on something I thought it was true, but it wasn't on this. I apologize for that. Now for our characters, we have Fred, of course. Yeah, he's an accident-prone operator of a Bronto crane at the Slaying Rock and Gravel Company, who is overweight and likes to eat copious amounts of marginally healthy or unhealthy food. He's quick to anger, much more than I would be, usually over trivial matters, but is a very loving husband and father. He's also good at bowling, being called Twinkle Toes, and is a member of the fictional Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes. Now, it was originally called Loyal Order of Dinosaurs in the first season. It's a men only club. His famous catchphrase, of course, is Yabba Dabba Doo, revealed in season 1 as the lodge's official cheer. He's voiced by Alan Reed. Now, he would do this was from when he started doing some voice acting work. He would also voice Touche Turtle, another Hanna-Barbera character, his sidekick Dum Dum. Next up is Wilma Flintstone, Fred's wife. She's more intelligent and level headed than Fred, though she often has a habit of spending money. Especially when she and Bay does a da 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 or whatever. Charge it! She often is a foil to Fred's poor behavior, but is a very loyal wife to him. She's also very jealous who is easily angered if even a hint exists of another woman, especially a pretty one having anything to do with Fred. She's voiced by Jean Vanderfield, who would later go on to voice Rosie the Robot on in Hanna-Barbera's other family series, The Jetsons, which premiered 2 years later. Now, later on, Pebbles Flintstone is introduced as their daughter. Then we have Dino, the dinosaur, who always knocks Fred down, getting excited and letting his face repeatedly. And his vocal effects are done by Mel Blanc, who, of course, voices Barney Rubble. Of course, his real name's Bernard, but Barney's his real name. Now, Barney is nearly 6 inches shorter and also overweight. His occupation is, throughout most of the series, unknown, though later episodes depict him working in the same quarry as Fred. He shares many of Fred's interests, such as bowling and golf, and is also a member of the Water Buffaloes. Yeah. Though they frequently get into feuds with one another, usually due to Fred's short temper, their deep fraternal bond remains very evident. Next up is Bay Rubble. Of course, her real name's Elizabeth. And like Wilma, she has a habit of spending money and also is highly jealous of other pretty women being around her husband. Originally, she was voiced by B. Benaderet, who, of course, would later go on to play Kate on CBS's Pay Conjunction. And then Jerry Johnson took over for not was it Jerry? Yes, Jerry Johnson took over for the rest of the series. Yes, starring in season 5. Then, of course, there's Bamm-Bamm, who would be introduced later on. He doesn't say much except Bam Bam! And there's Hoppy, the kangaroo dinosaur combination, a Hopperoo. There's other characters featured, including Mr. George Slate, the head of Slay and Company, and he's voiced by John Stevenson, who, of course, would be a big time voice actor at Hanna-Barbera, especially when he gets upset at old Fred Flintstone. Boy, he's really something. Let me see. Now, aside from others voice actors, Gene Vanderfield also does Pebble's vocal effects. And let me see here. Don Masik does Bamm-Bamm's voice, as well as the same for Hoppy and Arnold the Paper Boy. Let's see now. And then, of course, we also have Wilma's mother, Pearl Slaghoople, originally voiced by Verna Felton in seasons 2 and 3, and then by Janet Waldo, who, of course, would be voicing Judy Jetson on the Jetsons, there for the 4th season. There's lots of other special guest appearances, including Tony Curtis, Anne Margaret, and heck, even Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York from Bewitched. There's also additional voice actors, including June Foray, Sandra Gould, also from Bewitched. Let's see, Alan Melvin, he'd also do work with Hanna-Barbera, and same with Hal Smith and Gene Tyler. And of course, Howard Morris, he'd go on to voice Adam Ant and several other characters. And Henry Corden, who would take over the voice of Fred after Alan Reed's death. Now, of course, Alan Reed did a great job on voicing old Fred. Now, of course, Mel Blanc did Barney originally, but well, Hanna-Barbera regular Dallas Butler, best known for voicing Yogi Bear and several other characters, filled in and provided the voice for Barney while Blanc was incapacitated during the first, second, fifth, sixth, and ninth episodes of the second season by a near fatal car accident. Anyway, yeah. He sounded different, but but the character's voice varied from nasal to deep before Blank's accident. I think that was pretty good to hear a different voice and what have you. But even so, I still liked and what have you. The Flintstones has now become one of my favorite animated series. I've seen a little bit of it when it aired on TBS, aired on I know it aired on WGN, TNT, aired in syndication, of course Cartoon Network and Boomerang, but I didn't get to watch it a whole lot. I just wasn't getting into that spirit just yet. However, last year I managed to watch the whole series on Tubi. It's still there. You can watch it on there. You can also find the full series on HBO Max as well. The full series is also available in separate 6-season sets as well as a complete series set. There'll also be all sorts of referencing various other tunes like Family Guy or The Simpsons and lots of others. Now, of course, the original openings. Now, the show's also known for its theme song, Meet the Flintstones. However, that wasn't used originally. An instrumental type version, well, alternative to it, was used during some parts of the show, but it was not the original theme. The original theme was Rise and Shine. You know, like dun 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 dun. You know that one. I think you know that one. Now, of course, that was now the Meet the Flintstones intro was used. Sorry, after the third, well, with the third episode of season 3, but then was later added to the first 2 seasons for syndication. But soon, episodes were the first and second seasons were restored with the Rise and Shine intro, and the musical underscores were credited to Hoyt Curtin, and Ted Nichols took over for the final season. Who, of course, where of course ran by me a mysterious character from outer space called the Great Gazoo, voiced by Harvey Korman, which I think that was pretty funny. Anyway, after a total of 6 seasons and a total of 166 episodes produced and aired, the show ended in April of 1966. However, NBC picked it up for reruns on Saturday mornings, and then starting in 19 and then where it ran until 1970. A year later, the Flintstones would be back in their first new spin-off series, the Pebbles and Bamm-Bamm Show. And they'd go on to star in numerous other Saturday morning spin-off series. Some I've talked about already. After the show had come to an end, they would actually appear in their first feature-length motion picture called The Man Called Flintstone, which was released a few months later after the series ended. Now, they also had, let's see, they even had a crossover film with the Jetsons in 1987, as well as 2 live-action films, one from 1994 with John Goodman and Rick Moranis, and a prequel in 2000 called The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. So anyway, and the Flintstones will also have numerous specials, educational films, and all sorts of things. So anyway, yeah, I really think that's really something, and I think that's real good. Now you probably know who the Flintstones are if you've seen it. I know a lot of you have probably already seen this show. So anyway, the Flintstones is definitely a great show. I've loved it now, and it's grown on me a lot. There be numerous things, not other things. There's books, comic books, and even video games. I actually played one of those games. That was The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy for the NES. Anyway, so the Flintstones definitely a really fun show, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. And if you've seen the Flintstones original series, let me know what you thought about the show in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you the next episode of the Wide World of Game Shows, where I'll be talking about concentration. So thanks for watching, and if you like this, check out these other vids with the Flintstones. In the upper left-hand corner is the Saturday morning TV log on their first ever spinoff, The Pebbles and Bamm-Bamm Show from 1971. The upper right-hand corner is the Saturday morning TV log on 1979's The New Fred and Barney Show, which I'll be talking about the Flintstone comedy show from 1980 later in the month. Or if you like, go to the bottom left hand corner and see my review of The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones from 1987. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.